Good morrow, scholars. Welcome back to Blood of the Dead. It's going to sound a little bit awkward today because I have to use Windows Movie Maker to record this. For some reason, the main program is acting up. I'm just glad I found this little bit of a workaround. Anyway, I'm not sure how long this this video is going to be because my mom would like for me to take her out for a walk. Not like that. That's not what I meant. We play Pokemon Go, and she needs me there for safety reasons. Anyway, we are in Chapter 11, page 90. That will also bother me. Let's see. The scraping had stopped a few minutes ago, but August wasn't convinced that whatever it was gone. He lay there listening intently, ready to point his gun at a dead yet moving target. Silence. Dark. Just him, the safe, and his gun. He dared not shine the flashlight lest whatever might be behind the door see it and be alerted to his presence. He slowed his breathing, and made an effort to lay absolutely still. Any little thing he could do to shut off all sound. The bank was silent just beyond the safe's door. The tiled floor was cold. A shiver ran through him. It grew quieter, so much so the thudding of his heart pounded in his ears. He took a deep breath and exhaled slowly to relax. But even now, after all he'd been through, relaxing was something that wouldn't come easy. I could really use some help right now, he thought, eyes gazing upward. He only hoped the big guy upstairs was listening. Old Man Jenkins. If anyone happens to know that reference, please let me know. And no, it isn't SpongeBob. The seconds ticked by. He waited and was sure several minutes had passed, but the more he thought about it, the more he realized that maybe only 1 minute had gone by, if that. Don't you hate that? Maybe God was listening. If he wasn't, maybe something would have already tried to shove open the vault door, search out the dark, and gorge itself on aged flesh. The scraping didn't return. August closed his eyes and stared at the blackness, his ear nearest the door, searching for sound. Darkness prevailed, and August slipped away into sleep. Uh-oh. I don't think I'd be able to sleep in a situation like that. Do you think you could? But then again, because it's so dark, you probably would. I guess if you're normal. I'm afraid of the dark, but not like of the unknown, like what could be in the darkness. I'm afraid of actually being in the dark. Anyway. Drung. That's what it says, I don't know. The low, monotonous tone jolted him awake. Drung. He lay still, eyes searching the dark. The hollow sound of the incessant drumming charging his insides with an electric throbbing pulse he last felt the night he slaughtered his family. August got to his feet, not bothering to check his watch to see what time it was. Odds were he had only slept a few minutes, and to verify that with the clock would only make his heavy eyes worse. Drung, I don't know. Where was it? He stepped up to the safe's door, waited a moment to check for any sound other than the low drumming, and, not hearing anything else, slowly pushed it open. Excuse me. Hesitantly, he pressed the flashlight's button, just knowing he'd see some monstrous form ambling its way toward him. The beam lit up the dark. Nothing but the dead that were already here. He shone the beam around the room. The bank was empty. Carefully, he made his way to the entrance doors and shone the beam up and down the hallway. Satisfied the coast was clear, he stepped out into the hallway and listened once more. Drone. I wonder what it is. I can't remember. Quick, pause the video, put a comment down there in the comment section, and try and guess what it is. I smell bacon. It was coming from upstairs. If I stay here, whatever it is might come down. If I go up, whatever it is might see me and I'll be dead. I can't remember what his voice was. It's been so long since last I've seen myself. Anyway, he hated moments of indecision. That's my life. The right choice would be to get back inside the safe, close the door as much as possible without risking locking himself in, and just wait it out. Drunk, drunk, drunk. He glanced toward the bank, his eyes settling in the direction of the vault door. Even with the dim light of the flashlight shining on it, it still looked forbiddingly dark, as if suddenly it had become a separate world of endless night and deadly despair. That's oddly poetic. Oh man, he breathed. His old legs refused to budge. More drumming. The noise beckoned him. See, this would not be me. I would have left already. Then again, considering zombie apocalypse setting, I don't know where he would have gone. But, oh well, anyway. Let me know what you would have done in this situation. Would you have gone back into the safe? Would you have just stayed there until it stopped making that noise? Would you have left? Or would you investigate? Why am I so itchy? Anyway. He was already moving before he realized it, and the next thing he knew, he was over by the inactive escalator that led up to the Richardson Building's lobby. He shone the light around, searching for moving shadows. The carpet-rimmed tiled hallway was empty. That sounds weird. Putting the flashlight in his mouth, he got his rifle ready, brought it high, and slowly ascended the escalator, his breathing short and shaky, puffing out on either side of the flashlight. I don't know where I got confused. Anyway, some drool leaked from the corner of his mouth. I'm having that problem too. I have overproductive saliva glands, and yeah. What is it, Mozart? It's not the same. Where was I? At the top of the escalator lobby, at the top of the escalator, the lobby was charcoal black. There we go. I don't know what I was saying. Anyway, until he was about 3/4 up the escalator, did it seem normal it would be so dark. But then he remembered that ever since the rain came, the sky remained washed over in a dark gray with brown shadows, whether it was day or night. There should be at least some light coming through the windows in the lobby, and there wasn't any. Maybe someone boarded them up while they were stuck here and left it that way when they took off. If they took off. A shiver ran through him as he at the thought of more dead bodies, ones that died from no food or water, lying around upstairs. More drumming. The droning beat was louder here on the escalator. Whatever it was that was making that noise, he was getting real close to it. More drumming. And even more. He took another few steps up. More. Took a few more steps. More drumming. Louder drumming. Almost at the top. One more step and more loud drumming. It was near deafening and it was coming from his left. He dropped the rifle. What he saw locked every muscle in his body. I can't remember what it is for the life of me. What is it, Mozart? Good. Be free. I don't know why he stops at the door just to sniff it. Good. I just knocked the top off of my water jug. Oh, which reminds me. Drink plenty of water. Drink plenty of water. This video is not sponsored by Ozarka. Joe lay on his back on the couch, arms folded behind his head. April slept at his feet, keeping his toes warm. Bronte will do that sometimes, but she mainly likes to sit on your chest and suffocate you. Billie was right. He was trying to be something he wasn't. The problem was, he couldn't help himself. Ever since losing April, he couldn't seem to get back on track. No matter how hard he tried to get it together, despite the evil that the rain brought upon the world, he just simply couldn't. He had tried everything, ignoring his feelings, suppressing them, distractions, denial, chanting things like, she never existed, it's all in your head, it's all in your head. Huh, that's kind of depressing. None of it worked. He even started a new manuscript, something he hoped that would be cathartic and get the frustration and pain and anger and anguish out of him. Forget it. It was nothing but one step forward and 20 steps back. For a brief time he thought about suicide, something he never thought he'd consider. But he couldn't bring himself to do it. He imagined it, sure. He even imagined stepping out into a horde of the undead and offering himself to them as some sort of pathetic sacrifice. He watched in his mind's eye as they tore off his limbs, reached their gray fingers into his abdomen and pulled up the long, noodle-like tubes of his intestines, or do you say intestines? The blood splattering on their faces, his skull being smashed into bits of bone and brain and blood and skin, but he couldn't bring himself to do that either. He didn't know much about the afterlife, and didn't know what consequences for suicide were, if any. I guess it depends on your belief system. Let's not get into this. So if you would like to talk about it, let me know and I'll put a video out. I actually did a report way back in school on this. Anyway, the heck was that? It sounded like hyenas laughing. You know, the ones that can laugh. What are they called? Yet he also thought that if he were to spend eternity in a place called hell, that whatever torments it offered would be nothing compared to what he was feeling, and the physical agony he'd undergo would be a pleasant relief from the emotional torment within. But he didn't want to face the possibility of that either. So he stayed alive, drifting through the motions of living day to day in a world gone mad, hoping that somehow an answer would present itself. It wasn't until the night he decided to truly end it did everything change. He would give himself to the undead. He put on the only suit he ever owned, stepped outside and searched the night for any walking corpse that would have him. Except he never found any. Not for hours. He couldn't believe the only dead he found were those who had already fallen prey to the zombies and were missing their heads. Huh. Close to dawn, he came across an abandoned military vehicle. A soldier's headless and armless corpse sat hanging out of the side door. Joe went over to it, studied the body. The name tag read Dane. Cook. On the seat beside Dane's body was an automatic. Military issue or not, he didn't know. He'd never been one for war or army movies. He rounded, I'm not either. The vehicle picked up the heavy weapon, then wrapped his fingers around the handle, index finger on the trigger, aimed the barrel at the ground. Rat-a-tat-tat. I don't know. The barrage of bullets jolted his insides as they plowed into the cement, sending up shards of concrete. Tears running down his face, he was about to press the barrel under his chin when a deep wheezing to the side made him turn his head. A man, short and stocky, with gray skin and white eyes, was limping toward him, one of his feet missing. Ew. Without thinking, Joe fired off an onslaught of bullets, blasting the man's chest and face to smithereens. The body hit the street with a thud, like blood ran from its body and head. Ew. Joe stood transfixed on the corpse, somehow mesmerized by it. The pain that had been in his heart for so long went away. Now, lying on his couch, Joe understood himself in a way he hadn't in years. Billie was right. He was living a lie. He wasn't a killer, just some guy looking for a way out of misery. Just some pathetic, self-centered miscreant who couldn't deal with the past. No matter how he painted it, he wasn't acting like the person he'd been all his life. For a second, his heart opened, and he thought about living again and letting things go. Thought about being Joseph again. Then his heart shut and fell into a rocky hole, a boulder rolling into place on top, sealing it within. Joseph was dead. Not thinking open, August slowly lowered himself. I know the scene transitions could be a little bit better, but hey, whatever. August slowly lowered himself and, not taking his eyes off the windows that bordered the lobby, picked up the rifle and removed the flashlight from his mouth. What? Oh. The windows were smeared top to bottom in inky red blood, spread on thick in places, thinner in others. No wonder the light was barely getting through. There were only a few places where it could get through. Each step took several seconds, his feet feeling as though they were filled with sand. Huh. I know that feeling. You ever had to, go running? For school, or just because you needed to go running? I hate that feeling. More drugging, and even more. It's all loud. The ultra-thick windows shook in their frames. Mouth dry, his swallowing difficult, August moved for a spot on one of the windows where the blood wasn't so thick. He turned off the flashlight and brought up his rifle. More drugging. It's also loud. At the window, he leaned up sideways against it, then jumped back a step when more drums shook the glass. Heart hammering, the pulse so rapid and thick it raced up the side of his neck and into his skull, he forced himself to get close to the window again. More loud drumming. My nose itches. I have to sneeze. What's up, Iggy? Where was I? I hate this. Where was I? He kept his body a safe enough distance away and slowly leaned his head closer to the glass so he could see outside. The undead surrounded the front of the building and, he assumed, the remaining three sides as well. Some stood at the glass, banging on it with their palms smearing the blood from their latest kill over the windows. Others kept walking into it, bouncing off the glass, then trying again. Some threw corpses at the building. Huh. Maybe they are learning. But not hard enough to break through. The body slicked with blood, spat on the glass, then slid down, only to be picked up again for another round. Usually not before the undead took a fresh bite of flesh for themselves. Well, at least they're efficient. Where was it? More loud drumming. August moved back several paces, rifle aimed at the windows. Don't do it. They know I'm here. Are their senses really that keen? His voice was just a whisper. He doubted it, yet they were displaying otherwise. Or maybe they're so desperate for food and they haven't gotten in here yet. Then why are they tossing the dead at the glass? He stood there for a long time, losing himself to the endless din of meat slamming against the glass, thinking maybe at some point they'd realize they couldn't get in and give up. The undead never stopped. Okay. That's kind of another short chapter. I apologize for that. However, like I said, taking my mom to go Pokemon hunting. So I'm going to hopefully have both of these chapters short-ish. We'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think. I'm still not sure what the drunging was. I'm guessing them just hitting the glass. What do you think? Anyway, what was I going to say? So, my buddy Miga and I started playing Pokemon Silver. If you'd like to see us be goofballs with it, let me know and I'll maybe make some highlight videos of us being stupid. Anyway, until next time, goodbye everybody. I'm kind of surprised that I managed to get anything up today. Wow, it's already, never mind.